Welcome to the deep dive.
Today, we're jumping right into some really big shifts. We're talking massive corporate changes, the AI race heating up yet again, and, well, how global power is shaking out.
Yeah, it feels like a lot is converging right now. We've got 9 key posts lined up to give you the essential download, quick and sharp.
That's the plan. I want to unpack the vibe today. It's definitely high-stakes economics meets this huge, almost frantic tech investment race.
Okay, let's get into it then. First up, the big picture, global economics and, influence.
Right, how it's all being measured, how it's being fought over, really.
So post 1 is from @Kimonismus, that's Chibio. They lay out these projections for the new economic order. The post says, the global economic order is shifting. The U.S. will hit $31.18 GDP by 2026. China, $20.60, still growing fast, but not enough to catch up. Germany, $5.03, holding Europe's line as growth stalls. However, the EU isn't collapsing, it's stagnating.
Okay, so those headline numbers, they seem pretty clear at first glance, right? U.S. way out front, over $11 trillion ahead of China in nominal GDP by 2026. Looks dominant.
But hang on, that word nominal seems key. How much does that number really tell us, especially when you look at the replies to the post? There's a lot of debate there.
That's exactly the point. That's the critical question here. What's really fascinating is how quickly the conversation pivots to how you measure. Because these are, like you said, nominal GDP figures. Dive into those replies, and people immediately bring up purchasing power parity PPP, what the money actually buys inside the country.
Right.
And based on PPP, data from Statistics Times suggests China might already be ahead of the U.S., like by over $10 trillion in 2025.
Wow. Okay. So the real insight isn't just who's number one, but that the metric you choose, nominal GDP versus PPP, completely changes the story about global influence. And that must impact, well, everything for big companies' investment strategies.
Precisely. You've got this kind of dual reality. Nominal figures give the U.S. that edge in, say, exchange rates and maybe perception. But PPP shows China's massive domestic economic engine.
Yeah.
And companies, governments, they have to operate knowing both realities exist, all while, the IMF is warning global growth is slowing down to maybe 3.2%. So, stagnation. Yeah, that word feels pretty accurate for a lot of places.
Speaking of things being closely watched, let's talk about regulating influence itself. Post 7, this one's from @Polymarket, it's breaking news. Breaking. Chinese influencers now required to hold university degree to discuss serious topics or face a 100,000 fine.
Yeah, this kicks in October 2025.
Yeah.
And it covers exactly those heavy topics: finance, medicine, education. It's a pretty dramatic step, credentialing who gets to talk about important stuff.
A university degree, just to weigh in on finance online. That feels like a very direct, very top-down answer to the whole misinformation problem we see everywhere. But wow, a centralized one.
If you zoom out, it really throws this global debate into sharp relief, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Authority versus access. This mandate, well, it basically says expertise, institutional knowledge comes first, populist reach second. It completely changes who shapes the conversation on these vital subjects. And yeah, the replies kind of highlight that with some sharp satire, comparing this to, well, places where maybe anyone can sound off on complex issues.
It definitely raises the bar. You need to be certified, essentially, as an expert. That's a serious clampdown on information flow, on who gets to have influence.
Absolutely. Okay, so from regulating influence, let's pivot. Let's talk about the huge corporate restructuring that's happening. This story, it weaves together 3 different posts, but they're all pointing at Amazon.
All right, this is where you really see the money moving, literally.
Indeed. So yeah, Amazon, we've got headlines here pulling from @Kobisa Letter, @Spectator Index, and @Watch Your Guru. They all paint the same picture.
Okay, the combined message is basically this. Breaking. Amazon, AMZN, is preparing to announce mass job cuts beginning tomorrow, October 28th, 2025, in what is expected to be the largest layoff in company history, as many as 30,000 employees across its corporate workforce.
Yeah, the context here is just critical. It's a huge number, maybe 10% of their white-collar staff. Why? Well, partly unwinding that massive hiring surge during the pandemic, their corporate numbers, tripled between 2017 and 2022.
Tripled? Wow.
Yeah. And then you've got CEO Andy Jassy really pushing hard on efficiency.
But here's the strategic kicker, right? This isn't just about saving money. These job cuts, they're explicitly meant to free up cash for, wait for it, $100 billion in AI investments in data centers in 2025.
Exactly. They are essentially trading human corporate overhead for AI development and infrastructure.
That's about as clear a signal as you can get. They're betting the farm on AI, liquidating parts of the existing structure to fund the future one.
It shows that for the tech giants, AI isn't just a priority, it's the priority. It's seen as existential. It's a massive, rapid shift of resources from, well, people, towards processing power and algorithms.
And you see the human side reflected in the dark humor online. That pun someone made in the replies about Amazon's overnight delivery to unemployment. Whew. Brutal, but it captures the feeling, doesn't it?
It really does.
Okay, so this huge corporate pivot to fund AI. It's not just about finding savings. It feels more like total commitment, almost a gamble. And we see that same kind of pressure maybe playing out at Tesla, where the future of their tech seems to hang on one shareholder vote.
Post 3 really highlights this. It's shared by Elon Musk, and it's a direct letter from Tesla board chair Robin Denholm. She's urging shareholders to vote before the November 6th meeting.
Right, the vote is on retaining the CEO and also approving this pretty massive new performance-based pay plan.
Yeah. And the stakes. Denholm lays them out pretty clearly. She basically warns that if the CEO leaves, Tesla could lose its edge in these game-changing areas. Full self-driving, Optimus, things that are completely reliant on AI. The rewards in this plan are tied to hitting some incredibly ambitious targets in AI and market value over, 7.5 years. So this vote, it's really a shareholder referendum on whether to double down on that specific high-risk, high-reward AI path.
It sounds less like just a pay package vote and more like, a strategic crossroads for their whole AI direction. Okay, meanwhile, the actual tools making all this AI possible, they're getting big upgrades from some big names.
Exactly, which brings us to post 4 from @LateInteraction. That's Omar Khattab. He just drops this. Guido van Rossum builds a Python package for RAG.
Guido van Rossum, the guy who created Python, he's now building ARG tools for Microsoft.
Yeah, retrieval augmented generation, RAG. This is fundamental stuff.
Okay, break this down simply for us. What's the practical win with this type-agent Py thing he's built?
Yeah. Look, the biggest problem with large language models, as you know, is that they sometimes just make stuff up, hallucinations. This tool tries to fix that. Think of it like this. Before the AI even tries to answer your question, this tool makes it organize the information much more strictly. It uses the AI itself during the initial data processing, the ingestion phase, to create structured data, like JSON schemas, very specific tags for what's what.
Got it. So it's like building guardrails into the data before you ask the question. The AI acts like a super organized librarian first, cataloging everything precisely, which hopefully means the answers later are grounded in fact, not fiction.
That's the idea. It forces structure up front. Now, it's early days in MVP, and there's a warning. It uses third-party LLMs, so you got to be careful about feeding it sensitive data, privacy risks. But the potential to cut down on those hallucinations, that's huge for getting businesses to trust and use these models more.
And that demand for a reliable, specialized AI, it's fueling some serious investment.
Which leads straight into post 5 from @TechCrunch. $20 million in funding, including a $14 million Series A co-led by Grove Ventures and TLV Partners for OnFire, a vertical AI platform for IT revenue teams.
Another day, another big AI funding round, $20 million for OnFire. But vertical AI platform.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean for you, the listener in this case?
Good question. It's key. This isn't your everyday chatbot. Vertical AI means it's super specialized, built for just one job. In OnFire's case, that job is B2B sales intelligence, specifically for IT companies.
So what's their niche? How does this focused AI actually make money?
Okay, so OnFire was founded by people with intelligence backgrounds. Their AI scans public developer forums, think Reddit, Stack Overflow, places like that. It's looking specifically for buying signals, like who's asking questions that suggest they need new software tools right now. It focuses on data, cybersecurity, FinOps areas, and they claim it's already helped clients close over $50 million in deals.
Wow.
The value is finding those hot leads buried in all the online noise that a human sales team might just miss.
That is seriously targeted stuff, monetizing online chatter with surgical precision. Okay, finally, let's look at an application that could land directly on many people's desktops, especially in the professional world.
Right. Post 9. It's just tagged OMEG by @DanShipper, but the news behind it is Anthropic just launched Claude for Excel.
Okay, this is that practical integration we're always looking for, and it sounds like a direct shot across the bow at, Microsoft.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
A direct challenge to Microsoft Copilot, right in the heart of finance territory of the spreadsheet. It's a beta tool, a sidebar, but it lets the AI read your spreadsheet, analyze it, even modify it or create new workbooks. And crucially, it tries to be transparent by linking its actions back to specific cells.
Okay, speed and analysis sound good, but Copilot is already in office. If you're working in finance, what's the compelling reason to install this separate Anthropic thing? What's the killer feature?
Well, just showing up with strong features in Excel, that's a statement itself. But their differentiator seems to be that transparency piece, linking directly to the cells it touched. It gives you an audit trail, supposedly.
Hmm.
It's basically Anthropic saying, hey, you don't have to live entirely inside the Microsoft bubble for powerful AI analysis in your most important tool.
But hold on, an AI that can modify spreadsheets? I mean, that sounds incredibly powerful, sure, but also kind of scary. That opens up huge potential for errors, compliance, nightmares, especially in high-stakes finance. How are they handling the risk of the AI messing things up or creating workbooks incorrectly?
Yeah, that's the constant balancing act with AI in regulated industries, isn't it? The transparency feature is meant to help letting humans review the AI's work. But the AI works so fast and can make such big changes. It really puts the onus on the user to double-check everything. Whether people adopt it widely will probably depend heavily on how reliable and, frankly, how safe that modified feature proves to be when the regulators start looking closely.
Okay, so wrapping up today's vibe, it feels pretty clear. We're seeing this global reshuffle. How we measure economic power is up for debate. How influence works online is getting actively regulated. And maybe most dramatically, corporate America, or at least big tech, is tearing itself down and rebuilding specifically to pour money into the AI race.
Exactly. And if you connect those Amazon layoffs, sacrificing corporate jobs to scrape together $100 billion for AI, if you connect that to these new highly specialized AI tools popping up like On Fire finding sales leads or Claude digging into spreadsheets, it poses a pretty stark question. We are definitely watching a massive shift in where companies put their resources. So the thought to leave you with is this. What chunk of the white-collar workforce, the analysts, the finance folks, the people using these tools daily, what percentage might be displaced by this next wave of vertical AI? I mean, more importantly, how fast could that happen? That's something to really chew on as you navigate, well, the future of work that's unfolding right now.
A really high stakes question indeed. Thanks for tuning in to the deep dive. We'll catch you tomorrow.